This is Lucy, and she is our home. She is our Mitsubishi L300. She's a long wheelbase van, and she was made in 2005. And we bought her from a lovely English couple for £3,250.
Let's go top gear here. She's a manual. She has 3 seats in the front. And just recently, we got her windows fixed.
Yay.
She's an old gal.
She's a diva.
She's a bit of a diva. She's an old gal. And her locks can be a bit funny sometimes. Don't worry, Mum. They stay locked, but that's the issue.
And we can now unlock it. That's what we also paid for.
We are the 3rd generation of backpacker to have her. Everyone keeps saying, why Lucy? In backpacking culture, when you buy a van, if you're not the 1st generation to have the van comes named.
Yeah.
And you keep the name of the van. Our last van was called Vera. We got her name was Vera. This van, her name is Lucy. We call her Lucy.
Yeah.
It's just the way that the backpacking world works. The majority of our time is spent in the main living area, which is essentially our bed. We pretty much use this space for everything. It's our sofa, it's our dining room table, it's where we chill out, it's where we do work, it's basically when we're in the van, this is where we are. Luckily for us, the previous owners had put privacy film on the windows, so it's actually not that easy to see into the van unless it's dark and we have all the lights on, then you can see right through. But to solve that issue, there is curtains that we can close at night for that extra bit of security. Our
friends and family will know that we came out here with a lot of stuff in massive suitcases. So we have found a van where Lucy here is able to store our suitcases under the bed, either side. We have emptied pretty much our suitcases of all the clothes, which have gone into storage space next to the bed. We've then even got a cupboard above us, which has got everyday things from sun cream, painkillers, toilet roll, mirror, games, all things like that. And then we even managed to move things around so much that in another cupboard above us is where we store all of our food. And again, we've got a fair bit of that as well. So we're pretty blessed with storage space.
Another key thing that we were looking for in a van was that our kitchen space was inside the van. And I know that may sound a bit silly, but in New Zealand especially, the majority of vans actually have their kitchen in the boot facing out. So if you wanted to cook, you'd have to be standing outside with the boot open to cook. So we have been really fortunate with this van that our whole entire cooking space is inside. It has an integrated hob and a sink that is electric, which means that it's pretty much like your own mini kitchen that you'd have at home. Also in the kitchen area is where we have a cupboard which has our saucepans, our dishes, our plates, and any other miscellaneous stuff that we might need. Next to the kitchen is a little seat space where we can sit to cook, but also when you lift it up, inside there is extra space, which is where we keep our bread and our cereals.
Bulkier food items.
Yeah.
Though I will stress that if I try and sit there, I do move the fridge because I'm a little bit bigger than Maria.
The fridge is powered by a second battery. The second battery is charged while we are driving and stores enough energy that our fridge can be on 24/7. That means that we're able to have luxuries such as milk and cheese and butter in our van without having to worry about any of it going off. On the panel where the battery is a little screen that will tell us how many volts we have. And next to it is 2 USB plugs. So that is how we are able to charge our devices inside the van, even when the car is not running. There are also switches which control the lights, the electric sink, and also the plugs. I think. If we're being honest, we don't know what the middle one does. We don't know what the middle one does because we thought it was for the plug, and it turns out you don't need to have it on, the plug on, like the switch on, to get the plug to work. So we're not really too sure what the middle one does, but I'm sure it does something.
The light comes on.
Yeah, like the light flicks on, but yeah. So that's how we charge our electronics.
When it comes to gas that we use for the hob, we have a 4 kilogram LPG gas canister that sits behind the driver's seat. Don't worry, it is disconnected after every use, and that probably will last us about 3 or 4 weeks. They're very easy and affordable to refill. You just go to a petrol station and they have a connectivity source there, so that's always very easy. When it comes to water use, we have 2 water tanks under the sink, a clean water and a grey water tank. So grey water is what we dispose of. So we have to actually go to specific dump sites to dispose of that water. You can't just dispose of it anywhere. And it's usually at those sites where you get your clean water as well. And I reckon we could probably go a week without having to refill those. That is probably despite at least 1 or 2 hot drinks each a day, which obviously uses the water and the gas. So yeah, we do all right with that.
We have to be careful though when filling up the water that we are filling it up with drinking water, as at dump sites they also have water which is considered non-potable. Is it non-potable? Non-potable, which basically means that if you boiled it, it would be absolutely fine to use, but you shouldn't use it for washing your dishes, for example. So we need to, when we go to get clean water, we always make sure that we're trying to get water that is considered drinking safe water.
Lucy isn't our first van. We did get a van together during our time in Australia 5 years ago called Vera, and as much as we loved Vera, she wasn't the best van in hindsight.
She wasn't perfect.
No. Again, we loved her, but she wasn't. So we knew the sort of things to look out for when it came to buying our next van, buying this one, including where the bed would be, I think most specifically where the kitchen would be, but then also just the general size of the van. I mean, I'm quite tall, Maria's quite tall, we are sat up in bed and we're not limited by headroom, there's loads. So yeah, for us, we learn a lot of mistakes, and those are just a few of the things that make Lucy better than Vera. Sorry, Vera.
However, Lucy is not perfect.
No.
And we know that. So we will take what we learn about living in this kind of van for our next van.
one.
Yes. We'll learn from this mistake and Vera, and make even better choices next time.
That's the beauty of van life, is that you meet many people on the road. You know, we've seen people in bigger cars, and we did consider a bigger car, but as big as they may be, it didn't fit me.
Marco
basically
didn't fit in it, no.
Didn't fit in any of the beds. So yeah, we had to go with a van, and I think we've done well.
We've slowly moved up in the world of vans.
Yeah. Next it'll be a Ford Transit.
Yeah. Lastly, we wanted to touch on why we specifically forked out so much money for a van. And one of the biggest things was we wanted a van that was self-contained certified. To be honest, New Zealand is the only country that I know of that does stuff like has this certification.
Yeah, or at least really, I suppose, enforces the rule, yeah.
So in New Zealand, you have free campsites that you can stay at, which means you pay absolutely no money. They're normally very pretty as well, and you can stay there for free. However, the condition of that is that you have to be self-contained. What does self-contained mean? Well, it means that you have got flowing water and a grey tank, which we have.
Yep.
It also means that you have got a toilet in your van. Now, you may be wondering, where's your toilet? Well, our toilet is actually in a wooden box rammed right into the centre of our bed. I don't know a single person who has a van that is self-contained that has actually ever used their toilet. No one uses the toilet because the majority of the campsites you go to, like 99% of the campsites you go to, actually have toilets. They want you to be self-contained though, so that you're not basically just ruining their environment with your dirty water, and if you do need to go to the toilet in like an emergency, you're not doing it out in their environment. It does mean that we get to have that self-contained sticker.
Yep.
And we get to stay in amazing campsites like the one that we stayed in tonight and the ones that we've stayed in the past. That is why we paid that extra money.
Big time.
To make sure that we had a self-contained vehicle, because in the long run it is going to save us money because we're not going to have to pay for campsites.
Thanks for watching today's video. We hope you enjoyed our tour of the van, our tour of Lucy.
And we look forward to showing you guys all the amazing and cool places we get to go in Lucy.
Yeah. So make sure to like,
subscribe,
and turn on those notifications.
because we're here for you
every Monday.